I'm JP Hervis. Thanks for joining us. Today we're going to talk sports marketing and PR. And, it's not just because we want to talk about communications in this group so much, but I think a lot of us are sports fans. So to help me have that conversation is my friend Wes Hardin, who is the managing partner and president of Phalanx Sports and Entertainment. Now, Phalanx is a venue and event production consultant firm that's dedicated to providing innovative solutions to sports and entertainment industry. It draws upon decades of experience. These guys have done everything from soccer matches on all different levels to youth sports to working with college teams to concerts to everything. So, Wes, I really appreciate it, and I want to get straight into it. And it's a question I ask everybody off the top always is, how has the pandemic impacted your business and your ability to market?
Just like everybody else, I think we're all going through an extremely challenging time. It all happened so quickly. Right now we're working on 4 projects primarily. About 3.5 of them took an immediate pause. Thankfully, none of them were canceled out of the gate, but they're like everybody else. We've hit that lull. We're just kind of playing the wait and see game. So what we've tried to do is just slowly pivot and adjust where our focus is. As you mentioned, we do work primarily in both the facility development as well as the event production space, and we've kind of transitioned more into the facility development side of things for the time being until the event scene can kind of get back on track.
One of the many interesting things about your company is, along with ideas and operations, you guys have to market just not only on a B2B basis, but also to the general public for new ideas, or if you take over a facility to improve it and so on and so forth. How do you think that's going to change looking forward? Because we all know that the biggest point with sports right now is, when are people going to be comfortable enough to come back, to come together as a collective, to really enjoy something that's the part of the DNA, the fabric of our society?
For sure. I mean, this is a very unique time. I mean, you look at other major events in U.S. history, whether it be 9/11 or the economic collapse of the late 2000s. And sports was always kind of the thing you went back to, and you knew it was there to kind of help comfort you and reunite the nation. And the fact that this time around it's a complete and overhaul pause, long term with an undetermined end date, it's a challenge. So I think the biggest thing we can do right now is just to be flexible, to be continuing pre-planning for that next phase. And then once we kind of get the thumbs up from all the public health officials and the local government officials, then we can slowly start to re-implement processes and systems in place so that we can start bringing fans back into the stadiums and arenas and really kind of ensure that we are creating trust and confidence in all of our folks that are coming to the events, so that we can show them that it is going to be safe to gather again. You are going to be able to come back and bring your entire family and do it in a way that's safe and yet at the same time entertaining and exciting.
You said it, trust and confidence, and we've spoken to a public information officer for a government entity. We've spoken to a manager of 30 different restaurants. We've spoken to a marketing person in the nonprofit space. The word trust comes up every single time when you look at the present and also moving in the future. And just to give you an example, we consulted one time with a restaurant and said to them, we go, look, as right now and moving forward, especially anything that's brick and mortar in a stadium, a facility, a sporting event is brick and mortar, anything that's brick and mortar, in the case of a restaurant, instead of showing pictures of your food, show pictures of your staff cleaning and put that on social media. Yeah. And I think for stadiums, it's going to be, don't show us, the new Jumbotron screen you may have. Show us that you've doubled your staff and you have new wands that shoot out the best cleaning sprays known to man. And that would be more of a hype sports video on game day than someone spraying the lines or putting up the goalposts or anything like that. So, the challenges of PR and marketing when leagues open back up, everything from the YMCA to the NBA, it's gonna be big. It's totally gonna have to be refocused.
Yeah, absolutely. Because right now, there was a study that came out earlier this week from Seton Hall that showed that 72% of people would not feel confident going back to a major large sporting event until there is a vaccine in place. So I think that it is going to be a slow progress to try and get people back in and getting the confidence back up to bring their family back to an enclosed space. So there's a really good group out there, OFU group, managed by Tim Lywicki. And what they're doing is he's created a whole new division that's focused on sanitizing arenas in a way that's more on par with what we've experienced over the last few weeks, as opposed to the practices that were utilized in stadiums and arenas leading up to this point. So I think we're really in that time where we're really going to have to work hard from a stadium and arena and event perspective to win those fans back and show them that it is a safe place to go spend a Sunday afternoon with their entire family.
So I should also say that in your illustrious resume, you were the Associate and Assistant Athletic Director of Facilities and Operations at Florida International University for more than 5 years. So operationally, and the marketing of the operation, once again, because operation now becomes a marketing tool of how we actually are going to do these things to bring people in. When you look at the very difficult decisions that the NHL, MLB, college sports, NFL all have, now they're all in different situations, end of seasons and starts of seasons. What do you think may be the best way to go? I always think, and I've said this to clients because we're in a crisis comm mode, operating under an abundance of caution, which I think the leagues overall have done obviously already. And at the forefront of it, like most everything else in professional sports, has been the National Basketball Association. But what do you think is the right way to go? Because the NBA and the NHL, they don't want to cancel their season, and MLB doesn't want to cut their season in half, and the NFL can delay things. They don't want to push it to January. So what do you think? What are your impressions of the professional leagues, especially?
I think they've all done a really great job for the most part of maintaining visibility while also trying to create some sense of content and some sense of normalcy for their fan base. You look at really the rise of esports over the course of the last month. I mean, in case the esports industry wasn't already going parabolic, now you throw in the additional visibility that whether the NBA has the 2K. The one I'm actually truly impressed with is what the USL has done from their E-Cup, where they're playing Rocket League soccer, and they're having athletes from their teams participate against other clubs around the league. And it's an incredible way to keep your brand at the forefront while there's actually no games being played. So, the other challenge from the stadium and the arena side of things comes in that when you actually look at the events that you're hosting from your own, you in the sense of college, university, your own student athletes, it's really all those other additional dark days that these stadiums and arenas are constantly trying to recruit new events to bring in to help with the bottom line and drive additional revenues for your student athletes and your own operations. And those events take an awful long time to plan out in advance. You're looking at usually somewhere in the 4 to 5 months for any sort of major event minimum. So the idea that we're going to be able to run right back into it and come August 1st, we're good to go, it's probably not entirely likely. I think we're going to have to slowly phase this in with smaller events and however we socially distance among these stadiums and arenas. And again, kind of going back to show that we can create an environment that's safe for our fans.
Yeah, and I know that I felt really that surge of concern when the NBA shut down. So the flip side of that, to me, is when the leagues are fully operational. And I'm not talking about, the NBA, every NBA team goes to Las Vegas, they all stay in the same hotel, and they all play in one arena, and they go through the NBA finals like that. Not that, I mean, back to kind of normal operations. So that kind of leads me to the happiest time, which is going to be when there's a vaccine, and that's the 72% you mentioned earlier is comfortable. This is where I feel like companies like yours are going to be essential, because it is going to be a free-for-all. And you correct me if I'm wrong, the time that it takes for you to bring an international soccer match to city X in the United States is probably going to be shortened. So operationally, and the marketing of it is going to be tightened, and everybody's going to go. And I think everybody's going to be obviously motivated to, both financially and I think, just for the soul of the profession and for the community. But that's gonna be incredible to watch, the marketing, the PR, and the operation of, we're back to our normal sports world and entertainment world. Here comes the tidal wave of everybody trying to fill dates. What do you think that's going to be like?
It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, obviously, it's going to take a major collaborative effort between public health officials, stadium managers, promoters, to kind of create an environment that is safe. But that being said, yes, it's going to be an absolute ton of fun. I think people are getting restless. they're ready for their sports. Historically, you look back at any of these major events, whether it be 9/11 or other events that have caused a pause in the sports industry. But they were all very limited, and really it was the sports that kind of united the country and brought people back together. And the fact that this is an extended circumstance here, that we really don't have an end date yet, I think that's where the challenge lies. That being said, once this kind of starts to slowly creep back into the forefront, it's going to be truly an exciting time. Really, the best companies right now are the ones that are using this opportunity to kind of step back, reevaluate systems and processes, and really continue planning their events so that if and when they get that green light, they're ready to execute and go right off immediately out the door. So, I mean, that's one thing we're currently working on is the recently announced Daytona Soccer Fest. It's a major international soccer festival with live music, international soccer. Heck, there's even a fishing tournament in Lloyd Lake inside the Daytona International Speedway. We had just announced it at the Daytona 500 this year, with the kickoff being July 4th weekend of 2021. Obviously, the whole world is at a pause. That being said, we are very optimistic that by that point, everything should be ready to go, and fans will be ready to come in droves to support, whether it be soccer, music, things of that nature. So really, it's an exciting time for those folks that are able to kind of step back and use it to truly pre-plan and make sure that that event goes off without a hitch.
Man, I'd look forward to be there, and because that sounds like a spectacular event you guys are putting together, and it's just going to be such a sign. People are going to be appreciative of so many things, but special events like that one in Daytona, along with our everyday good old NFL or college football game, is going to mean more than anything else. When we can't get back in those stadiums, I think we're going to be louder than ever. So
absolutely, and I think sometimes we generalize sports as just being the major sports that we think of, the NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL. But in reality, the sports market and sports industry is way beyond that. You start looking at all the number of 5Ks and the local triathlons and things of that nature that have really taken a massive hit. I mean, we were working with a fishing tournament that raises scholarship dollars for a state university here in Florida. And unfortunately, obviously, like everything else, it has been canceled. And as a direct result, the 4 scholarships that were provided last year, this year probably will not be an option. And, those are the type of things that we want to help people get back. So the moment that we are able to safely congregate, we can really, truly kind of ride the wave and use the explosion to truly help out both local businesses, local promoters, and at the same time, local families that are dying to get out of the house.
Here's one family that is one of those families. If people want to get a hold of your company, how can they do so?
You can check out our website, www.phalanx, SE as in sports and entertainment.com, or any one of our social media handles. That's the very same.
All right, my friend Wes Hardin, who can't cover me on the basketball court, I appreciate the opportunity to play against you again, so I can feel good about my old age and my shot. We'll do it again soon, but thanks for joining me here. Wes Hardin, I'm JP Hervis. Remember, we're all in this together, and everybody keep communicating. Thanks.
Thanks, JP.